Someone 7. They don't close the door. They don't mark the hole.
Thank you for all the bits and pieces you've done back home and here. You have my assurance as a Member of Parliament, and particularly one who represents a garrison town, that I want to see, I want to see this injustice put right, and you've spelt out, and your colleagues have spelt out, not just the pensions issue, but other aspects as well. So again, thank you for all you've done. All I can promise is, like a good Boy Scout, is I will do my best. Thank you, sir.
The United British Gurkha Ex-Serviceman Association, based in Nepal, for the excellent campaign they have conducted, along with others, to get a better deal, a fair and just deal, and with it recognition and appreciation from Britain, the country which hundreds of thousands of brave citizens from Nepal have served with such courage and distinction over many decades. For those Gurkha veterans who have not been treated in the way they should once they have given up active service. Having praised the association for their campaign, I also thank its members for providing so much background information to justify a successful conclusion. The participation of other members in this debate is welcome. I trust, however, that ample time will be left to enable the Minister to respond and hopefully to give encouraging news for the Gurkha veterans, to treat Gurkha veterans in the same way as others who have served in Her Majesty's, and in some cases His Majesty's, armed forces. The oldest veteran present had served in Burma in the Second World War. Another was the holder of the Victoria Cross from a conflict of 40 years ago, one of 13 VCs to be awarded to Gurkhas amongst more than 6,500 decorations for bravery. Gurkhas have been frequently portrayed as the bravest of the brave. They are renowned for their valour on the battlefield as exceptional soldiers, loyal to those they serve. Their tenacity, strength, fearlessness, courage and ferocity are without equal. To Britain's shame, however, there's a parallel history, one of discrimination in the 190 years successive generations of Gurkha soldiers have served the Crown. The United British Gurkha Ex-Servicemen Association was formed in Nepal in 2003. It is an umbrella group of 6 different Gurkha Ex-Servicemen Associations in Nepal. It is a non-profit organisation dedicated to the welfare of Gurkha veterans and to highlight the problems faced by them and their families. This unifying organisation has been lobbying for the equal rights of the Gurkhas in terms of pay, pension and other facilities with both the British and Nepalese governments. Pensions paid to Gurkha veterans need to be brought into line with that paid to British veterans, proportionate to the years of service. The same needs to be done for the pensions paid to widows of Gurkha veterans. There is no social welfare policy in Nepal, and after the death of her husband, the widow of a Gurkha veteran often suffers extreme financial difficulties. Gurkhas who are discharged without any pension should be considered for a reserve pension, just like a British soldier. Medical expenses of retired Gurkhas, I would suggest, should be borne by the Ministry of Defence in full. The current system of Gurkha Welfare Trust coughing up funds for the veterans' medical expenses is totally unacceptable.
Their loyalty and their bravery in which they have served this nation during their service. Indeed, I too have experienced service with the Gurkhas in the jungle in Brunei, albeit only for 2 days. It was an experience which I will never forget. And although I think when they did some indication about my jungle warfare skills, they weren't of the very highest order. They said after those 2 days I was improving in those skills. Nevertheless, I have a particular interest in the Gurkhas in the sense that in Derry Lines, where company and platoon commanders of the infantry in the British Army are trained, and indeed Sedibridge Ranges, which is another training facility for the infantry, and probably every single infantryman in the British Army has experienced any bridge. Indeed, a Gurkha captain told me that while the Arctic is cold, it is dry. The jungle is wet, but at least it's warm. But Senny Bridge is cold and wet, and you need the highest level of personal organisation to survive there. So it's a test for people wanting to serve in the British Army. We do look forward to the Minister being able to announce, if not today, but at some stage, that Britain at last will address the great debt which this nation should be paying to the Gurkha soldiers, who will pay such a huge contribution not only to the defence of the country but to promoting British interests abroad as well.
With a lot of the spirit of what the member for Colchester, what he said, and I think we've had debates on this issue before many times in this House, but nevertheless it is important that this debate is actually kept alive, because as long as this discrimination does exist, and other issues were highlighted about nationality and citizenships and so forth, then I think it is certainly important for a Labour government, and I say a Labour government, and maybe hopefully people endorse this government at the next election, because I certainly would want to see under my government, my party, to eliminate this great discrimination. But I think we need to, I know we can't do everything in one go, but I think we need to at least take some steps to remedy the situation. As somebody who has always championed my party for all it has done in tackling discrimination and injustice, and that's one of the reasons I joined my party, because it was the party which actually gave hope to young Asians like myself when we first joined, saying, you know, we are the party, we are the people on this side who actually champion, fight for against injustice, and we care and we are against discrimination. It was the great governments of Harold Wilson and others in Callaghan which actually introduced all the race legislations. And but I think that this debate is I see this debate in that spirit. The heroism of Gurkhas is well documented, written over and over again. So I think given that contribution that has been recorded, I, as somebody who see this as an issue of injustice, but which needs to be put right. And I do believe that certainly my government, certainly on these benches, we have a spirit to put it right. And I know that the Minister, having known him for nearly a decade, that before he even entered this House, that he's one of those who actually gave me a lot of support when I was trying to get elected for my own seat in the Northeast. That he's one of those who really passionately cares about issues to do with injustice. But I think it's the one we got to put right. So I recognize that I'm sure the Minister can tell us all that we have achieved. But nevertheless, I think I would like him to go a step further and to say a few words of hope, because hope is important in this subject. I'm sure we're going to get an agreement from all parties in this House, from the front benches, but I think we are in a position to do something about it. We, as a Labour government, are in a position to do it, given that we are here and the progress we have made.
Fairness and justice, recognition, dignified equality, destitution, shortchanged, begging, discrimination. These are words that have been repeated across the chamber today, and I think sum up this debate. As we have heard, the Gurkhas have served the Crown since 1815, and in 1947, when the tripartite agreement set out the terms and conditions of service for the Gurkhas. Whilst numbers have reduced over the years, they still play an important role, having been deployed in Kosovo, East Timor, Sierra Leone, Bosnia, Afghanistan, and many more conflicts throughout the world. In 9 years' time, they will have served this country for 2 centuries. That's 200 years of dedication, protecting a country which is neither their birthplace nor their nation.